Only thing unplugged is Forgotten Seasons.
Welcome back, Forgotten Seasons. J-Mac, man. Today we got a special guest, a guy that was a killer back in his day, but we really haven't heard from much. I think people are going to be excited for this one. Today we have Josh Howard joining us. Josh, thank you for joining the show, man. How's it going?
Going good. Thank you for having me.
Josh Howard is one of those players, even though you play in the NBA and you can admire from afar because you can see in the way of his game how much he had been through and how much, the league isn't handed to all of us at every time. Some of us, like myself, Josh like myself, fall down in the draft for various myriad of reasons, and it changes the trajectory of your career. Not everybody gets a chance to remake themselves. Not everybody is dedicated to their craft, like a lot like Josh was. When you're going through the ups and downs, you need a couple good veterans around. You need a good front office. It takes a lot for somebody to, fall in the draft and then get motivated and catapult themselves back to, be all-star. In his case, being an all-star. Some players is just to your normal self of playing, just basketball. Other players is getting back, surpassing that and getting to an all-star level. And that's what I've always admired Josh from afar, throughout his career. So I'm excited about this one, Dylan.
Man, appreciate you.
Even though you hit us with that old shit about how we can't work technology, we're going to let that slide, and get right into the good news.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you guys because, I've been dealing with this for my whole life. Like, I got a phone. I got my first phone in, like, 5th grade, but I was still on the flip phone back then. I'm 26. So, like, I feel like I'm not quite like the generation that was, like, an iPad baby. But, like, for me, even sometimes
you were still watching Caillou on the iPhone.
For sure. In researching your story, like, it's hard not to kind of take a step back and obviously see some of the stuff that's been written and said. And usually we talk about players that are ahead of their time, and usually that's on the court. And I think you fit that mold, a 6'7" wing that could defend, that could shoot, that could handle the ball. But really the off the court stuff is what stuck out to me, and somebody that was outspoken about recreational cannabis use in the off seasons.
I don't think it's nothing that's hidden. I think a lot everybody, like in the media world and the sports world, know that NBA players, do smoke marijuana.
Not wanting to stand for the national anthem.
Star-Spangled Banner going on right now. I don't even celebrate that shit. I'm black, goddamn Obama, all that shit.
And like today, when players do that things, oftentimes their careers can catapult. They get speaking engagements, they get brand deals. We've seen it a lot. And for you, it kind of seemed like it went the other way. So when you see kind of the evolution of how athletes are able to speak about issues and how their careers, the trajectory can change in a positive way, how does that make you feel?
I guess for me, I think you mentioned it earlier, just being ahead of the curve and really understanding who I was and who I am right now, and actually kind of, I guess you say proud that I kind of took one for the team, because at the end of the day, I had to understand who I was to say those words, and understanding at those times, people really wasn't ready to hear the things I was saying. And like you say, now that it's evolved into more of a, understanding the athlete more, as far as them being more than an athlete, it's kind of gratifying to see that athletes are able to voice their opinion when at a time it was frowned upon. It was like, I got so much hate mail from that, and it was just amazing to see, people not really understanding that I am a person, a human being before I was an athlete. I have morals and values. I'm an African-American man for that much. So understanding where I come from and, how I was raised and my thought process from what I learned from my family prior to me, it meant a lot to me to understand what I was saying. So, for me, even what you're saying, like my career, took a downfall. In my mind, I look at it from an athlete standpoint. Yeah, everybody says stuff, but athletically, I played ball. And when I got traded from here to Dallas, the Wizards, I tore my ACL in 4 games. So as an athlete, shit, that was my first major injury ever in my career. And I was going into my 7th year. So shit, that derailed my career, just getting hurt and having to come back and have to prove myself over and over. Which every year I played, if you check my record and that not being funny, I played every year after the situation happened. So for me, I definitely left that behind. I just wish I never got hurt, because I love the game of basketball. And like Jelani said, just admiring me from afar. And I've never been one of those guys that wanted attention. Like, you can never say I look for attention. I just let my game do the talking. So That in itself, again, helped me grow as a man, and understanding that people don't really understand who you are as a person until they get to know you. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess you can say at this point, because, even moving forward, it's crazy that I'm still talking to you. I haven't had anybody ask me that question in a long time. Being a mentor now to a college team has been like the best thing, because they've seen that I've been scrutinized and I still was able to push through and be successful. So to pass that along and them have a physical NBA All-Star coaching them at a lower level where you never would think too many coaches at my caliber would be, they're very thankful and gratified or thankful, the same thing, that I'm their coach.
It should be. And it's funny that a man of so few words can have a couple words get out over the beginning of the internet and a couple videos, and it'd be, it turn your whole career, people questioning, the type of person you are. I commend you for just getting to year after year, because everybody don't, get back to year to year. I was one that, went from starter to, having to check on the team year after year after year after year. So I always admire people that got it, that fell down in the draft, got his place as a starter, got back to an all-star game, got most improved, whatever it is, whatever accolade it was for us up in the association. That's what I mean. I always admire people who were true to themselves. Yeah. And, went through something and still managed to maintain their careers, because it's not an easy thing to do, especially as a young man in any career.
In any career, man. So, like you said, it's a blessing, man. And I think, like you said, something else. Dallas, Mark Cuban, in those times when I was getting a lot of ridicule, he supported me. You know what I'm saying? And I see a lot of that when, Kyrie was dealing with his stuff and Cuban supported him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a family, that's an inside thing, and I had a lot of support from a lot of the Mavs during those times too. So I think that was a lot of what helped me continue on and be, the player that I knew I could be, regardless of, I had to definitely couldn't drive to the basket like I used to when I got back to the league. But you get what I'm saying? It's just continue to fight and continue to play.
You mentioned like the hate mail. Was that mostly after the national anthem video came out?
Banner going on right now. I don't even celebrate that shit. But I'm black, goddamn Obama, all that shit.
Yeah, definitely. And it was, again for me, it was kind of like a blind side, because you never thought that people would really, take to heart what you say, especially then, and that was my thought process, and not really thinking, it's really people out here that will die hard, for it. For the cause, which, now I understand. So, I still don't think it should have went that far as death threats. It's like, come on.
But to be honest with you, Josh, even back then, you represented a large group of people who felt that way about the flag. Or had that video not have been on YouTube, it doesn't go viral. You know what I mean? If camera phones not being invented, it doesn't really pick up traction. You just continue on about your season. It just so happens that YouTube is starting to get popular. People are vlogging, wanting to be around basketball players when they're not in the gym. Like people are fascinated with that. So you just got caught in at a perfect storm, and still you stood on what you stood on. Nothing you said was, nobody said you was lying. About anything. They just said you can't say that.
Can't say it. Can't say it.
So your intro to the Mavs, 2003-04, comes at an interesting point in the team. This is Steve Nash's last year in a Mavs uniform. They're coming off a really tight and brutal 2003 loss to the Spurs, where Dirk gets hurt, and there's allegedly some friction between Cuban and Nelly based on playing Dirk. I want to start with Dirk. He plays the 5 this year. We hear a lot, obviously he's one of maybe the best offensive big men ever, maybe the best international player ever. What were your expectations about Dirk before you got to the Mavs, and then what surprised you or was validated when you first got there?
Your expectations, bro, coming from where I'm from, I was just happy to be in the league. I ain't even know who was on my team. I did know they was good the year previous, and I knew about Finn, Nash, and Dirk, but as far as just getting to Dallas, man, I was just a kid in the candy store, bro. Just, you can hear it in my voice, bro. Just going back, 20-something odd years. So to get here from the level of basketball I was playing, I can honestly say, once I seen those 3 guys' work ethic, it made me realize I wasn't even scratching the surface yet. So Dirk definitely was an international star before I got here, and to see his work ethic and to see what he was doing at 7 foot was just like amazing once I got in here and got, comfortable with my surroundings. So to learn from that type of leader was definitely beneficial for me at those times.
What's something technical that Dirk helped you with, even with your game? Was it shooting, footwork? What's something that, like, just being around him, or maybe a thing that you stole, or you asked a question from him? What's like a technical thing Dirk taught you out with? Was it just the working out, the volume of how you work out, or was there like, no, Josh, you do this, use this footwork, shoot like this? Was there anything that you remember?
I would say the knowledge of his defense. Like, even though
Dirk's
he had two
defense.
left feet, yeah, if he knew where everybody was supposed to be, I guarantee you that. Because you got to think about it. How the hell did we get to where we was at the first time Dallas had ever made it to the NBA Finals without having a big man anchor outside of Eric Dampier and Sagana Jock? So, and those guys definitely came in and held the fort down, but we had to depend on Dirk when we played small ball. Because if you look back, some of those games I had to play 4. Stackhouse was the 2. Marquise Daniels was the 3. You get what I'm saying? So, and Devin Harris was the point of Jason Terry. So you got to remember, Dirk definitely, when it came down to defense, I listened. Basketball wise, you already know that one-legged fadeaway. Just being his teammate, it just kind of trickled down to you. So just watching him really perfect his shot and working with Holger, who's his trainer, watching them be constantly in the gym. It was times we didn't even know they was in the gym at night. So again, that made me feel like my job was important, being like the guy that got in and started the game off and got 11 points in like 5 minutes. So stuff like that made me really realize, like, Dirk was one of a kind.
Josh, was this a before or after everybody had a coach that you could call and let you in the gym? Because I know that was the whole thing with the Mavs before it was a thing. Yeah. Everybody had a coach that you can call, and it's 1 o'clock, I want to get in the gym. Did y'all have that at your time there, or was it just Dirk setting the tone with Holger?
Yeah. I say we had that there, but Dirk definitely set the tone. Yeah, because again, you got to remember our franchise was ahead of the curve too at those times. We had the PlayStations in the locker room, and everybody was like, "What I'm saying?" So
barbecue, the plane, everything, everything.
Yeah, we was the hottest thing smoking then. So, to take all that in and really not, and that's another thing, not abuse it. They knew how to recruit or get guys that didn't abuse that. That's why we were successful. We knew we had the best, but we also knew we had to show up. You get what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
That's another reason why my hat's off to the Mavs organization, and I still do stuff with them to this day, because they are one of the true top of the line organizations out here as far as NBA basketball that I know of.
It was a long summer, but finally the NBA is back. And for tip-off, I've partnered with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you guys some great offers for hoop season. Right now, all new customers bet $5 and instantly get $200 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up using my promo code Forgotten Seasons. That's Forgotten Seasons, one word. Stay in on the action and use those $200 in bonus bets to craft your very own same-game parlay. You can go total points, player points, rebounds, assists. There is so much. DraftKings makes it easy. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, do not worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win huge cash prizes. So don't wait. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code Forgotten Seasons and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code Forgotten Seasons, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. What veterans on that team taught you the most about, like, off the court and helped you acclimate to the NBA? Because they bring in Antoine Jameson, Antoine Walker that year. We've had a lot of people talk to us about how good of a vet Antoine Walker is. Obviously, you got Dirk, you got Steve Nash. Who was the person for you that you feel like was your best OG and teaching you how to, like, move correctly in the NBA?
You see me smirking, so mine is definitely Jerry Stackhouse and Daryl Armstrong.
Yeah,
are my top 2. And then after that, Michael Finley, because he was right beside me. He was my locker mate. Those 3 in a nutshell was definitely the 3 that helped me understand how to maneuver through the NBA and off the court.
Not like that on the court, not like that, but not like that. You and Michael Finley got a lot of the same patterns.
Yeah.
As far as getting to the mid-range, being able to shoot a three, being athletic, being able to get to the mid-range, get all the way to the cup if you're being lazy and you don't want to check up. He was a little taller, built a little different, but the patterns, if I say same patterns. Athletic, run the floor, shoot the three, you get out on the three, I'm going to put it on the floor, mid-range, and you can get to the basket. So I can't think that's a – man, your access to knowledge – for your game, being able to play 1 through 4, damn near 1 through 5 sometimes, like your access to knowledge and mixed with a Nelly is crazy now that I think about it.
We got to throw in Avery Johnson too, because that little transition that happened so quick, because you remember that year we had Nelly, I had Nelly for a year and a half, and Nelly was a wizard offensively. So to get what I got from Nelly, learning that quick basketball, quick screen, get to your spots, like, man, I mean, the combination for me definitely was like, it was the best at that time.
Heck yeah.
So Nelly, I think, he never won a championship, so he's not really talked about in the likes of like a Popovich or Pat Riley. But when you go down the line, I mean, he's number 2 in all-time wins. And just you mentioned, I want you to go deeper on it, but like the innovation, he's coaching those run TMC teams that were putting up 120 points a game in the 90s. He's with those Bucks teams in the 80s that are almost scratching the surface. And then he gets to Dallas and finds Dirk Nowitzki, it helps him become one of the best offensive big men of all time. And again, your rookie year, like 2004, this is the height of brick ball, like 70 to 65 final scores, and you guys are putting up basically 110 a game. Can you go a little bit deeper onto like Nelly's philosophy offensively and what you learned from him right away?
It's simple. Shoot when you're open. And it sounds like, cliche, but again, you have to be there with Nelly, understand when you get to your spot, he expects you to shoot when you're open. I try to teach my guys that, because a lot of coaches don't say shoot when you're open. So I give hats off to the assistant coaches we had, like Riley. We about to take back Charlie Parker. Ooh, Lord, I'm still remembering names.
Oh, Charlie Parker.
He was one of
Yeah.
But these guys, Brad Davis, Rolando Blackman, those are our player development coaches that at that time, man, it was about getting to the basket, getting to your spots, playing off Dirk, and we had the luxury of having a 7-footer that played the 5 that could shoot threes. So you can only imagine Nelly telling us this, because we're going to have a lot of one-on-one actions getting downhill or a lot of wide open threes, because they got to come help Dirk, because again, he's a fucking unicorn. Like, he can do it all. He's 7 foot. So Nelly definitely made the game real easy. And then again, like I say, defensively, we had to hold the fort down. But Nelly's philosophy about just shooting when you're open and understanding your game and what you bring to that game at the time, I mean, he was second to none with that. And I'm pretty sure he touched a lot of those throwback players that you mentioned, those teams he coached before he even got to us. So, yeah, man. And like I say, I think people should definitely, I know he out there in Maui somewhere chilling, but his name definitely needs to be mentioned in the conversation regardless of a championship or not, because, man, he definitely was the innovator of the fast break game, I would say.
He's chilling on his weed estate in Maui.
Yeah, he's chilling out there with that too. Yeah,
Nelly Kush is live and active out there in Maui.
I know it is too.
Innovator, somebody ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? Throw Don Nelson in there with Josh Howard. Somebody ahead of the curve.
Did you ever think that Steve Nash would be a back-to-back MVP? And do you think that Cuban letting him walk led to Nelly eventually stepping away from the team?
Yeah, he was a professional. Like, he was in the gym just as much as Dirk. His craft was mid range, and again, that was something I took from him. Just like, you get into that spot, you ain't even got to worry about trying to get a layup over a 7-footer, like 2-dribble pull up, because you're gonna get a good screen from whoever set the screen. So, man, what he did passing, like he could find you, what you're not even thinking. Like, him and J Kidd were 2-point guards I played ball with, and same type of player as far as like just can find you without you even knowing. So at the time, especially the talent that was in the league, and the way he went from here to Phoenix, and I mean, they was lighting up the scoreboard too with him and Amari. So, you can't discredit none of that. And they were definitely making it, second Western Conference Finals, those 2 years. But yeah, I could see it happen. I didn't, at that age again, with me being young, I was trying to get myself up. So
get yours.
I was excited for him because he was another vet that treated us cool and made sure that we understood some of the game. It was definitely dope to have a teammate like him and to see him do that after he left. Now, as far as Nelly and Cuban, I never really. I've always been one of those persons that stayed to itself as far as my own business, and so for them, I never really understood what happened to here recent, and I'm not going to share it, but I'm just glad things are working out for the best. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks to see great people feud, and I'm glad that things are working out for the best.
All right, that was well said, Josh. I mean, that was love and light on that.
Keep to your business.
Yeah, keep to your earn. Yeah, that's the front office issues.
Yeah.
I thought an interesting detail of just those 2005 and 2007 playoffs are the teams that beat you were your former coach and your former teammate, and it seemed like there was a little level of revenge in both of those because Nash averages 30 a game in that series in 05, which was by far his highest total. And then Devin Harris and a couple other people have told us, Nelly, all he cared about that year was beating his old team. After that was done, he was cool. He didn't even care about the next round. So there was a little something extra in both of those series. I don't know if you could feel that at the time.
Oh, yeah, I could, as far as with the situations going on. But again, for me, it was just showing them that I was going to try to win every game, regardless of that. But of course, with the momentum, definitely those series, Nash was lights out, and Devin, I wanted to say, was a rookie. So for him being a rookie, having to chase all NBA, MVP, that definitely was tough for him. Shit, hell, I had to guard him a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? So, it definitely, he showed what he could do under pressure.
Since you had to guard him, Josh, what's the hardest thing about guarding Steve Nash?
Oh man, he know how to use the chicken wing. He knows how to use his shoulders and elbows to get his shot off. And then again,
even when you try to get him with being taller and everything and using length, he's still gonna be able to in them close quarters get to where he need to get to.
Yeah, I got a picture. I wish I had it. I got a picture when he was playing with Phoenix, and I'm guarding him, and I'm kind of humped over him, and you can see him using his elbow and his foot to shield me off. Knowing how to use his body. So he's definitely a master of that. And then, like I say, man, coming off 1-2 dribble pull up, man, that thing going in with Steven in his prime,
draws.
Yeah,
and then he gonna get to play. He gonna get to playing with his little. He gonna get to playing with his hair and his sideburns and shit. You know what I mean? Licking. He's licking and touching all on it. Get off the ball, man.
Oh, Nash.
Test that shit.
Yeah.
Maestro.
So you got to play with him and J. Kidd. What are the similarities and differences on the offensive end playing off of both of those guys?
I mean, they were definitely an extension of the coach, if not coaching the whole game without coach having to say a thing. And again, like I said earlier, just knowing where you were supposed to be at and understanding what type of player you were. Like I say, both those guys knew I would get out on the break and run, so they knew all they had to do was catch it and see me take off. They know I'm definitely gonna catch it or do the right, thing with the ball. So just having those two guys and their mindset about just playing through, bullshit because they were the point guards and they had to will us to win, was definitely an attribute that both those guys had.
Motherfuckers like fighter pilots.
Basically.
Cool. You know what I mean? Know how to make tough decisions real quick, dealing with it. But all them, Jason Kidd and Steve Nash might as well wear the Top Gun Maverick glasses.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't shake them. They know where, like you said, they're throwing you open. They know where you're supposed to be. They know what the coach wants, but they know what the players want.
Exactly.
And they know everything in between. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, nah, don't run that, run this. They know how to communicate between, I got you. So, those are highlights. I played with J. Kidd. I never got a chance to play with him in the league, but I played with him at UCLA in the men's gym. And I was like, man, I wish I can get on one of your teams.
Hey, dog.
Because he got a lot of players, him and Nash.
Yep,
They got a
people
lot of
paid.
players play,
Yeah.
just going to your spot
Yep.
and getting rewarded. That's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out, get out on the break. Don't be able to get out on the break. You're really going to take care of you. But if you're in one of them dunker spots or one of their little favorite spots where they live, then that's all you got to do, man. They launched people's whole careers.
Mm-hmm.
Just being off yeah.
I wonder what a Steve Nash looks like in today's game, because he was only putting up. He wasn't like a scorer, but if he was shooting the volume of a guard today, that's an easy 25 and 13.
Yeah, just think about the mid-range guys, because with the Shea kid in Oklahoma, DeRozan, those mid-range guys, so they get to their spots off the screen and roll. So he would fit, but he would pass more. Like, so with that being said, I guess it depends on the knockdown of the three, because now the game is spaced out even more. Because like you say, a lot of times they would hit guys in the dunker spot, but now you got to hit them out to that three, that corner three, that wing three.
Who gave you your toughest introduction to like wing and down low play? Because back then, a lot of those three men would get you down in the post, like a Ron Artest, a Mashburn, T-Mac.
The ones that gave me the worst problem on the block would probably be Artest, because he was strong. Like, it wasn't no moving him, and then he could score. Unorthodox game, but he could score. Like, yeah, you think he going right, he going left.
And through you.
And he telling you he going left, yes. I always tell people Tracy McGrady was the hardest, but not because of the block, because he had Yao Ming as a screener. And
good point.
To negotiate that, fellas, like,
good point.
You don't understand until you got to deal with it. And then it's Tracy McGrady, who was Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant. So saying that to say, as soon as you getting over that screen, it's bucket. Like, I done been a part of them games where him and Dirk were going back and forth. Remember, he probably scored about 20 of them points on me, and I was a good defender. You know what I'm saying? So,
you were in the series.
T-Mac was definitely.
You were in the series when T-Mac dunked on Sean Bradley, right?
Here comes McCready. Oh, he just sucked the gravity right out of the building. What a play by T-Mac.
It's playoff time. Look at the extension.
Yes, I thought I was in the game, but when I seen highlights of it, I was on the bench. I thought it was my missed assignment. Definitely was watching from the bench. Oh my God.
Hey, why were the Mavericks had a certain type of big, right, Josh? The Eric Dampierre's,
Sagana Ja,
and then Josh Sean Bradley.
Right,
you know what I mean? There was a certain mode for the big in Dallas, right? You weren't, am I right? You weren't asked to do a lot, but rebound, clog up the paint a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to do a lot offensively. You know what I mean? A little bit of sexy garbage work. You know what I mean? Clean up around the basket.
Yeah.
Was that because Dirk was what he was, and there was no need for offensive? Like Damp used to get a couple drops. I remember having to guard Damp a couple times early when they want to. You feed big dudes early, so we'll set screens and shit for the rest of the game. For those that don't know, if you ever wonder why the random big guy back then got a couple post ups early in the game, is because big guys, if we don't get the ball or feel like we involved, we don't set screens. We don't tell you they coming. We ain't rebounding. We ain't running the floor. None of that shit. So was that because they just Dirk was such a dynamic big that you just had to have like a basically standard five, and y'all were dynamic too because you could play three positions. Steve Nash could play a couple positions, but like was the five just had to be five a thing in Dallas?
Yeah, basically, and you can kind of see it still to this day with the bigs they have now.
Tyson, a little bit like Tyson, and then
I think that's just something that they stick to, and I think, like you said, they got a lot of guys that can play the floor on down in different positions. So I think it makes it easier for that five to really focus on rebounding and setting screens. Because, like I said, those guys we named were hella like Damp and Sagana. Those boys used to get me open, and I definitely will reward them. I know sometimes they wouldn't want us to throw in the ball. I'm like, hell no, I'm giving y'all the ball. Like, go to work. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for y'all and what y'all did, like, we wouldn't be successful too. So I think that was another way for our guys to realize how important they were as far as their role, because that was a big role again. And me playing, I definitely knew how bad we needed those guys to just rebound, set screens, and then, like you say, when it's time for them to get those buckets that we needed, or like Damp used to dunk and do that yell swing, like that stuff right there was big because it was a big momentum swing. So yeah, that position is important. They definitely, we needed those guys.
See, the common fan would lead you to believe the guy who starts and averages 4 to 6 points is trash. Right, you know what I mean. You'll see a starter, and you'd be like, he only averaged like 7
Play
points.
your role,
you know what I mean. Woo. How does he, keep ending up in the starting lineup or have a long career? It's because those are glue guys. Those let other people free up to just play basketball. They're out through all positions. There's point guards like that. There's wings like that. There's bigs like that. You always got to have like a glue guy per point guard, wing, big guy group, in my opinion.
Yeah, got to.
So you mentioned that you have 2 really bad knee injuries after you get to Washington. How are you able to like stay up at those times? Like you said the 2 first big injuries of your career happened. Maybe what, a year apart from each other, a couple years apart from each other, both legs.
Yeah,
how are you able to stay up in that time where everything is going wrong?
Well, definitely my faith and my family, because I just started having kids too. So for me, it was just like really living for them at that point. I still had a lot left in the tank, even though I knew I couldn't be a dynamic slasher / guy to get to the basket like I used to be. It was still a lot of love of the game left in me, and I knew like as far as the rehab, I could bounce back from it. So again, just moving forward and understanding that life goes on, and I got control of what I can control, so. Just staying grounded, believing that I could come back, which I did, and just believing in my agent. Derek Lafayette did a hell of a job, negotiating with these teams to keep me, going too. So that's why I definitely appreciate Utah, Minnesota, DC for, continuing to trust me. And hell, even San Antonio, because my last year was the first year of the G League, and I played with the Austin Toros. So, and that was the last major injury I had where I basically had to hang it up because I basically had too many surgeries, and like I said, kids was getting older. So just going about it that route and, understanding that, I got old, basically.
It happens.
Yeah.
Well, you maximize like, although you went through what you went through, you maximize a lot in your NBA career, Josh. Like, I don't hear players, our peers, talking about how Josh is this, Josh is that. You know what I mean? You one of the ones that's, solid, super reputation known as solid. You know what I mean? Had to fall on the sword for a lot of other people to stand on the shoulder of giants, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just like I said, like from afar, like I was going through something. I always admire people in the league that like jumped the hump and was like, damn, I need to figure it out like that, man. You can get past, you know what I mean, the bullshit, and then get right back on track. Because the talent level, stop me if I'm wrong, Josh, but the talent level ain't that greater between the 5th and 8th person on the bench sometimes at most points. It's timing, it's a little bit of luck, it's availability, injuries, you know what I mean? And injuries happen at the weirdest, damnedest times for whatever reason, especially, it's, the mental health, it's like, opportunity. A lot of goes into it when everybody's at the same, but then you see other players do this. So when somebody like I felt like you was one of us for my own reasons, because we looked like we had something in common. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I was like, I'd love to see one of us. You can do it, man. Let me get my shit together. So when I talk to players, especially ones who don't always talk, so we're very appreciative you spending time with us, right? We know you got a lot of stuff to do, but I just want to leave you with, you know what I mean? I ain't never been a hater in the league. Even when I was out, and it's easy to be, not always, I had to work on it, but you were like a couple players, not always, you know what I mean?
You said I had to work on it.
I had to work on it because when you out, you know what I mean, and you get a little salty, you know what I mean. You like, really, man? You watching the games, you like, really, man? What are we looking at? You know what I mean? So, much long have a label or them trying to run with some type of narrative about you, then watching the shit on TV and seeing it go. Anyway, I ain't gonna get into that. I just want to end it on, man. We were appreciative of your time, and I'm just appreciative. I'm still always gonna be a fan of the game, and you to me was a person ahead of your time. Right now, if Josh Howard comes out, you're like a $300 million player. Right, that's going to get another $200 million bag. You know what I mean? You're on every commercial and wooty-wooty-woo. As a guy who I knew from watching, it don't seem like you wanted that. You just wanted to hoop. You know what I mean? And you were appreciative of the experience. I just want to congratulate you on landing on your feet, for real, because I know what it's been like. You having to, carry a bag or two. You know what I mean? Still trying to chase your dream. So I'm just want to congratulate you landing on your feet. If your kids, happen to watch this, that you're being coached by, they got a real one. I'm pretty sure that's why they respond to you how they do. And then, maybe, this is going to be sometimes the second life is the best life. You know what I mean? We went through in the league, but having to influence kids, help them navigate some of the stuff that we did is one of the greatest rewards that I know I enjoy. So, shit, bro, congratulations for real from Forgotten Seasons.
Facts.
I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks for coming on.